Everyone thought it was over, that Ty Borden's story had ended, sealed with sorrow and silent grief. But Heartland Season 19 shatters that silence. In a twist no one saw coming, the man who once held Amy's heart is back. But this isn't just a return. It's a storm. A return that brings hope, confusion, and a truth that could change everything. The past is no longer buried. It's walking right back into Heartland. Season 19 begins not with a gentle sunrise, but with the uneasy hum of change. The ranch is quiet, but not peaceful. Amy has spent years learning how to breathe again after Ty's death, building a new life while carrying the weight of old memories. But lately, something has felt different. Whispers in town, the odd phone call, the look in Jack's eyes when he thinks no one's watching. Something is happening, and Amy feels it in her bones, like the wind before a storm. Lou has been acting strange too, distracted during meetings, hesitant to talk about a recent call from an old family friend. Tim, ever the skeptic, brushes it all off, but even he seems more irritable than usual. It's as if everyone knows something, but no one is ready to say it. And then, it happens. A letter arrives, not emailed, not texted, handwritten, with just one word on the envelope. Amy. Inside, a message short enough to fit in a single breath. I'm coming home. Amy's hands shake. There's no name, but she knows. There's only one person who would write like that. The impossible starts to feel real. Could it be Ty? Could he somehow be alive? Of course, the mind plays tricks when the heart is still healing. She tells herself it's a mistake, a cruel joke, or someone else entirely. But then comes the second blow. Jack admits he's known for weeks. He didn't want to say anything until he was sure. But now there's no more hiding. Ty is alive, and he's coming home. Amy is torn between rage and relief. Why didn't anyone tell her sooner? Why did Ty disappear at all? And most of all, what does he want now? The tension builds fast. Lou tries to manage things rationally, focusing on the practical side of Ty's return. Papers, identity, and reintegration. Jack remains quiet, guarded. And Amy, she can't sleep. Memories come flooding back. The pain of losing him, the strength it took to survive without him, and now the fear that his return will shatter the life she has worked so hard to rebuild. As the episode unfolds, Ty's return isn't just emotional, it's mysterious. He's been gone for years, presumed dead. No one understands how he survived or why he stayed away. He's not giving clear answers, and that worries everyone, especially Amy. This isn't the Ty she remembers. He's changed. There's a shadow in his eyes, a silence that speaks louder than any confession. By the end of the episode, one thing is certain. Ty's return is no fairy tale. It's the beginning of a complicated chapter, filled with secrets, emotional landmines, and questions no one is ready to face. Ty's return to Heartland sends shockwaves through the ranch, not because he simply walked back into their lives, but because he walked in with silence. No grand explanation, no joyful reunion, just tired eyes, a scar near his temple, and the kind of calm that feels like it's hiding something dangerous. The family gathers in disbelief, but the questions burning inside them remain unanswered. Amy tries to hold herself together. She watches Ty like he's both a ghost and a stranger. He's quiet, distant, not cold, but haunted. Lindy barely remembers him, and her innocent curiosity breaks Amy's heart. "Are you really my daddy?" she asks. Ty kneels before her, smiles gently, and nods. But even then, a flicker of pain crosses his face, like he's unsure he deserves to say yes. Jack, ever the anchor, sits Ty down by the fireplace one night and asks the question everyone else is too afraid to say out loud. "Where have you been?" Ty stares into the flames. His voice is calm but heavy. He speaks of being taken in by a group while traveling for a wildlife project. There was an accident, a remote facility, a long recovery. They thought he wouldn't make it. For a while, he thought so too. But what stops the air in the room is what he says next. "I stayed away because I thought Amy needed to move on." That single sentence cracks open the truth. Ty believed his presence would cause more harm than healing. He thought Amy, Lindy, the whole family, deserved peace. And for the first time, Amy doesn't know whether to cry or scream. He thought disappearing was mercy. Meanwhile, Lou isn't buying it. Not completely. Her business instincts tell her there's more to the story. She starts digging, quietly making calls, trying to confirm the clinic Ty mentioned. What she finds is unsettling. No one has a record of Ty being treated under his name. It's like he vanished from every system. And the name he gave? It leads to a small, now closed wildlife rehab center in northern Alaska, one destroyed in a fire 2 years ago. Tim catches wind of Lou's investigation and demands answers from Ty. The conversation turns into an argument. Tim, never known for patience, accuses Ty of lying, of abandoning them, of making everyone grieve for nothing. Ty doesn't defend himself, he just walks out. But before he leaves, he says one thing that chills them all. There are things I can't tell you. Not yet. It's not just about me. That night, Amy finds Ty sitting alone by the barn. The sky is dark, the stars watching silently. She sits beside him, close but not touching. "You're hiding something," she says softly. Ty looks at her with eyes that are tired of running. "I am, and it's not just my story to tell." His voice trembles. "But it's coming, and when it does, I need you to trust me." Amy wants to. She truly does. But trust was buried the day she stood by his grave. And now, she wonders, what if the man who came back isn't the same man she loved? What if his return isn't just about healing the past, but about protecting them from something even darker? Season 19, Episode 1 doesn't end with answers. It ends with unease. Ty is home, but his past followed him. And Heartland, once a place of peace, now feels like a ticking clock. The days following Ty's return are anything but peaceful. Heartland seems the same on the surface, horses being fed, chores being done. But underneath, it feels like something is breaking. Amy tries to focus on the routines that once gave her strength. But everything feels different now. Ty's presence brings a weight, not just for her, but for everyone. It's like the calm before a storm, and no one knows how strong it's going to be. Ty spends long hours walking the property alone, stopping to look at old spots, where he and Amy used to ride, where Lindy took her first steps, where Marion's picture still hangs in the barn office. There's pain in his eyes, but also a strange alertness, like he's watching for something, or someone. Amy notices it. She doesn't confront him yet, but it gnaws at her. This is no ordinary homecoming. Lou continues to dig quietly, and what she uncovers makes her blood run cold. Ty's passport, government ID, and credit files show no activity for years. It's as if he was erased. She tracks down a contact in wildlife conservation who once worked with Ty. When she asks about the rehab center in Alaska, the woman on the line pauses, then warns her not to look too deep. People who asked questions didn't always get answers. Some just disappeared. Lou shares this with Jack, who brushes it off as conspiracy nonsense, but he can't hide the concern in his eyes. Tim, on the other hand, grows more suspicious. He corners Ty in the barn one morning and demands full transparency. "If you care about this family," he says, "you'll stop hiding and start talking." Ty doesn't explode. He doesn't even flinch. He just says one word: "Tonight." And then he walks off. That night, the family gathers in the living room, quiet and tense. Amy sits close to Lindy, unsure if she's ready to hear whatever is coming. Ty stands before them, the firelight casting long shadows on his face. He begins by telling them about the accident in Alaska, how he went to help with a wild horse rescue, how a landslide buried their shelter, and how he was pulled out by a group of researchers. They saved his life, but there was more to them than just conservationists. They were part of a quiet network that rescued endangered species. And people who were running, from governments, from threats, from things they couldn't talk about. Ty pauses, his voice low. "There was a man there. He knew things about my past. He said I had been watched for years, because of where I worked, the animals I studied, and something I found in Mongolia during a vet trip. Something someone wanted buried." Amy stares at him, stunned. Lou's mouth falls open. Tim crosses his arms. "You expect us to believe you got caught up in some secret operation because you looked at wild horses in another country?" Ty nods. "I wouldn't have believed it either, until I saw what they did to the people who didn't cooperate. Jack leans forward, his voice calm but serious. "Are you still in danger?" Ty hesitates, then answers, "Yes, and so are you." The room freezes. Amy's breath catches in her throat. Ty continues, "That's why I stayed away. That's why I didn't reach out. I needed to make sure no one followed me here, but I made a mistake. They know I came back. The wind howls outside. The barn creaks. It feels like the walls of Heartland are closing in. Suddenly everything makes sense. The silence, the scars, the shadow in Ty's eyes. He didn't just come home to heal. He came home to protect. But from what? And for how long? As the family processes this impossible truth, Amy realizes the danger isn't in the past. It's already here. And Ty's return might have brought more than just memories. It might have brought a threat that could tear everything apart. The peace Heartland once knew is gone. Every corner of the ranch now feels touched by uncertainty. Amy can feel it in the air, in the cautious glances shared across dinner, in the way Jack triple checks the locks at night, and how Lou whispers during her phone calls. Ty's return, once thought to be a miracle, now feels like a thread pulled loose, slowly unraveling the life they worked so hard to rebuild. And yet, Amy doesn't walk away. Not this time. She's spent years grieving Ty, learning how to live without him. Now, she finds herself in an even harder position, learning how to trust him again. And not just as a husband, but as a man carrying secrets, running from shadows that now loom over all of them. Her heart is torn between wanting to hold him tight and fearing what his presence might cost. Tensions rise when strangers begin appearing near the property. First, it's a man parked down the road pretending to fix a flat tire. Then it's a woman posing as a reporter, asking strange questions about the ranch's finances and operations. Jack and Tim confront one of them late at night, but they vanish before answers can be demanded. It becomes clear. Heartland is being watched. Lou, ever the strategist, suggests going to the authorities, but Ty shuts the idea down immediately. "If they were just criminals, I'd agree," he says. "But they're not. These people work in the shadows. Reporting them doesn't stop them. It just alerts them we're scared." That fear becomes a living thing in the house. Lindy begins waking up with nightmares. Amy finds herself locking doors in broad daylight. They are no longer living. They are waiting. But Amy is done waiting. She corners Ty in the barn one evening, the place where their love once bloomed, where their memories live in every creaking beam. "I need to know the whole truth," she demands. "Not just for me, for Lindy, for all of us." Ty looks at her, tired and torn. And finally, he opens up. He explains that during his trip to Mongolia years ago, he stumbled upon a hidden wildlife corridor used not just for animal migration, but for smuggling. Illegal trafficking routes involving rare species, stolen artifacts, and sometimes people. When Ty reported it to an international organization, he unknowingly triggered an investigation. But the wrong people found out. They watched him, and when he left for Alaska, they followed. The group that saved him wasn't just trying to help animals, they were fighting back. They hid Ty, healed him, trained him. But they warned him. The moment he returned to his old life, they would come. Because Ty had something they wanted. Knowledge, evidence, witness. And now, they know where he is. Amy's heart pounds, not from fear, but from the heavy weight of understanding. Ty didn't just survive. He sacrificed. All those years, he stayed away not because he didn't care, but because he cared too much. And now that he's back, the cost of love might be more than either of them can afford. But Amy isn't the same woman she once was. She's stronger, wiser. She stands beside Ty and says, "We don't run. Not anymore." Together, they make a decision. To confront the truth, to expose what Ty knows, no matter the cost. With Lou's connections, they arrange a quiet meeting with a trusted journalist. Jack and Tim begin securing the ranch. Lisa contacts a private investigator she once hired years ago. Everyone takes their place, because Heartland isn't just a home anymore. It's a battleground. As the episode ends, Ty and Amy stand at the edge of the field, watching the horizon burn orange with sunset. It mirrors the fire in their hearts. They're afraid, but they're also ready. Season 19. Episode 1 closes not with resolution, but with resolve. The danger isn't over. The The secrets aren't fully revealed, but one thing is clear: Ty Borden is back. Not just to reunite with his family, but to finish what he started. And Heartland will never be the same again.